Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. Before we get started with our event, I'd like to direct everybody's attention to these beautiful flowers right behind me. These have been provided to us by the Macy's Flower Show, and you can see an even greater display of flowers right now in the New York store, the San Francisco store, and the Los Angeles store. So check those, or no, the Chicago store, excuse me. So check those out if you get a chance. Now, our next guests are the stars of the hit NBC drama Rise. It's the story of a high school drama club in a struggling Pennsylvania town. Let's take a look at a clip.
Nice. Sasha, could you please go get Mr. Cranefold?
So, tomorrow night, I'm having a victory party at my house. It's gonna be this whole football crowd thing, which I know isn't really your people, but do you want to come?
Yeah, cool. Should I, bring someone?
If you want to.
Okay, I'll invite Simon. He's just a friend who has a car, who will be able to get me there.
I'll text you my address, okay?
Okay.
So what was that?
Robbie Thorne just invited me to a football party tomorrow. Can you drive me?
Yeah. So, what is it? Is it like a date?
No. Yes? I don't know, maybe. I'm not 1,000% sure.
Please welcome Ali Carvalho and Damon J. Gillespie.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine before jumping into this, you were both Friday Night Lights fans, right? No? Wait, is Friday Night Lights an old person thing at this point?
Oh, no. I was a fan of the film first. And then, so I was like, I was one of those people that was like, I'm not gonna watch this. The film came first, me.
Really?
Yeah, and then, but especially once I found out who Jason was and I watched the show, I think I finished it in 2 weeks. So I'm now a big Friday Night Lights fan.
Well, I asked that question because I would if you had seen that, you would be, incredibly excited to be on Rise, because in so many ways this is Friday Night Lights, but in a drama club. It's a different struggling town in a different state and a different sort of high school extracurricular activity that is sort of giving these students and teachers, I think, a lot of soul and a lot to operate with.
Absolutely. We both actually didn't watch Friday Night Lights before auditioning and even receiving the roles for Rise. So I think we both fell in love with it for the writing itself without even knowing how the camera would play, how, perhaps how Friday Night Lights kind of came together with its own real, true storyline and its grit. We read that and we thought, my God, that's stunning. And it's so applicable to today with all of its storylines and all of its characters.
Jason Katims is so good at giving teenage characters sort of semi-adult storylines, or treating them like adults. What was that like as sort of young actors? Because I'd imagine you don't often get scripts where you're given a lot of depth as a teenager.
I would agree, but I think Jason, I think he's doing something incredible because he, even though we don't see that all the time, it doesn't mean that it doesn't always happen. Teenagers are so influential nowadays because we have such platforms and social media social media things.
Snap?
I just snapped.
But it's, it's true. These teenagers are becoming more and more like adults, sooner than we thought they would.
They're becoming the adults.
They are becoming the adults, essentially. And so, when Jason writes about teenagers, it kind of comes easy to him because he sees what's going on. He sees how, teenagers are so important and how they also experience very adult things in their everyday lives.
Katims also has a penchant for the dramatic, and I know it's a drama club, so that sounds silly, but there's a lot required of the actors in a Jason Katims show, a lot of emotional moments. What is it like sort of getting some of those scenes? You have scenes like that with the woman who plays your mother.
Yes, Shirley Ramirik is wonderful, and I'm really grateful to be able to get into acting because I started off in voice acting, and for me, I kind of knew how my voice was supposed to sound, but
especially I think Jason.
Did you do anything we might have heard of in voice acting? Like, did you? I don't know.
No, not at all. She didn't.
There's a little thing called Moana. It was really fun, but it's very different from live action. And now I think it's really great that I get to constantly kind of work on my craft like that, and it's really enjoyable. But you're right, it is tapping into emotional bits, and with the woman who plays my mother, Shirley Rumiak, I had to really separate myself from, the character Lilette and Ali, because I have a wonderful mother who supports me in everything I do. Clearly, I have found my light in the spotlight, whereas Lilette is really looking for that kind of support, and she finds that her mom can be a friend sometimes, but she doesn't want a friend; she wants a mother.
How does it work on set with Kate Adams in those scenes? Are you guys improvising a lot, or is it sort of doing the script by the book?
For really all the scenes that I've ever shot with Kate Adams, he gives us so much room to improvise, to even take the lines that he has perfectly crafted and kind of tweak them as we see fit for our characters, which is really incredible, because you do get a sense for your character as you complete the 10 episodes, even within the first 3 or 4, as you'll see tomorrow. 9/8 Central, NBC. You get to
Good.
Thank you. Insert
plug
that
right
plug.
there.
But you really do get a feel for the characters, and so with Kate Adams, he allows us to breathe life into them and not make them so rigid, which makes them more believable.
What's it like working with Josh Radnor and Rosie Perez?
They are amazing. They really are. Like, I grew up watching Rosie throughout my childhood. And then when I moved to New York, Josh's show was the first one I ever watched. So, like, the fact that we get to work with them so closely is such a blessing, because they've also become not only like our friends and colleagues, but they've become like mentors and guides for us, and are so willing to let us know, like, if we have any questions or we need to talk about anything. They literally are right there to help us. It's so amazing.
Yeah, Rosie was here and she was saying that she's always, when she works with young actors, she's always ready to give advice, but she said that none of you guys need any advice ever, that you're all pretty on top of it.
She's such a good actress. Oh my God. We need so much advice. No, but she's a wealth of information, and both of them are such kind souls.
They are.
David, talk about your character. He's the star quarterback who is maybe realizing that he has a bit of a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah, so Robbie is, like you said, he, the star quarterback, kind of gets dragged into theater. And I think slowly but surely, as the season goes on, he's finding how it's not easy to do football, to do acting. Because I think a lot of people, especially like when you see like football players go into acting or something like that in high school, we, at least from my perspective, is like, oh yeah, it's an easy grade, whatever, or it's like, a curricular that needs to go on my scholarship essay or something like that. And I think that when he was dragged in, he realized it was something special, and that it's not gonna like come easy, and he's really got to like work for it, which is really, really nice to see.
Did either of you do drama club or work in drama when you were younger? I mean, you're basically both kind of, you don't need drama club. You were kind of both professionally acting by the time you were in high school.
So, I auditioned for a lot of stuff in my high school, right? And I was in like Glee Club, and I wanted to be on stage because that looked really cool. And I didn't actually get cast and stuff.
Get any of the parts?
No, but I get the last laugh. Ha ha.
Yeah,
ha.
I was gonna say, like,
Right?
total
Good
vindication.
mic drop.
So that was my experience.
Have you emailed the drama teacher yet there at your high school to be like, hey, check it out. This
No.
is like this show that
I think
I'm
they
on.
got the point.
No, I'm
That
not
was
gonna
without
be
even
petty.
saying.
I'm not gonna be that salty person.
Oh, I would.
They can watch me
Rub it in
9/8
their
Central on NBC every Tuesday. I'm kidding. But go, Damon. You have a much more interesting story.
False. No, I went to high school for musical theater, and then I eventually went to college for it. Like, I grew up in music, but I also played football growing up as well.
Yeah, no,
I did. Yeah. I was like the men in my family were about sports, but it was weird because like all the women in my family were about music and dance. So it was like my mom was very much like, you have this. Let's focus on this. And so when I was growing up, I was always involved in something, but musical theater was like the thing that like really took my heart.
So as you see him, like, playing football, as well as singing, as well as dancing, like, know that that is all Damon, and that it's just like, he can do everything.
That is not true. I cannot
is.
draw.
Oh, okay.
I am so serious.
Some time. I bet you could draw if you tried a little harder.
Okay.
No, even my stick figures are just like a cry for help.
All
like,
right,
it's so
enough,
bad.
enough.
It's so bad.
Now, your characters on the show are kind of the sort of underdog performers. There's been a group of performers who've been leading this drama club for quite some time, and Josh Radnor's character has sort of brought the two of you in to sort of shake things up. What has it been like to play those parts, to be the underdogs of the cast?
I think it's really fun. As you dive into each of the lives of each of our characters, I think all of us are kind of underdogs as you see them rising above their circumstances. Nobody has the easy life. Nobody's taking, the easy road because that's just what life throws at you. So you kind of see kind of everyone's perceptions perhaps of Robbie Thorne having everything and anything he could desire, but I mean, even his life isn't perfect. So we kind of get to see them support one another and come through for this amazing production of Spring Awakening, which also talks about the teenage angst and all the difficulties that teenagers go through. And it's really beautiful to see that heartache on screen because it's real. I'm 17 and I get it. It's tough, but it's also necessary that we shine the light on it and say, high school sucks, but there are some really great people that you will meet. There are teachers that will inspire you for the rest of your life, and these friendships and these relationships that you make will change you for the better.
Damon?
Well, it's interesting because the way Jason has written this is like exactly how, because I went to a performing arts school, but my friends and family, they went to public school. So I'd heard stories about like, oh yeah, the quarterback decided to do theater and he got the lead immediately. So like when in the pilot episode when Josh says, it'll give it some attention, give it some heat, and it's like, that really happens like all the time. Like these people who have worked there and all throughout high school have been working their butts off and doing the training and doing the vocal training and the dance classes and stuff, get like overshadowed by someone who has never done this before in their lives and is probably not going to be very good or something like that. That's their thought. But in this case, it's that's where he's the underdog in that, because it's not just like oh, the football player decided to do it. It's like, no, like even the drama students are like, no, this sucks. So it's really nice to see that kind of authenticity and truth being portrayed on screen.
Do you guys shoot? Where do you guys shoot the show?
Here.
Oh, in New York.
Yeah.
Soundstage in
You're shooting in
Brooklyn,
New York.
and then we're up in Nyack.
Everywhere in like
Everywhere.
White Plains, Nyack,
That's
Haverstraw.
Pennsylvania.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Did you guys do like a field trip or anything to Pennsylvania to look at the towns that it's supposed to represent or anything like that?
Actually, Ellie did.
Ellie did.
Who plays Michael on the show. Ellie and their partner went to Levittown, where the story was inspired, and actually like visited the town. I haven't had the chance to make it out there yet, but
Neither have I.
I'm going to. It's pretty soon. As soon as my life calms down a little bit.
Let's get some questions from audience. Who has a question? Right there.
So my question is for Ali. So you spoke a little bit about transitioning from voice acting to live action. So what do you think has been the biggest difference or challenge in terms of storytelling and showing the emotion?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably the fact that I have to worry about my face on screen, because I know what emotion sounds like and I know what it feels like, and I can bring it to my voice. That's something that just growing up in a musical family, I understood. But translating that into my face that I joke about, but truly figuring out what it looks like is different and is a challenge for me. Simply because I'm not used to it. I haven't had training in that area. But it's also really fun because in voice acting, I feel like I know what I'm doing. And in live action, I get to feel like I'm always growing and I always have a direction that I can move in, which I really appreciate. So thank you.
Next question.
Hi, my name is Danny. This is a question for both of you. My question is, what advice would you give to somebody who is a singer wanting to get into film or TV acting?
Be kind. Really, be kind seems like a small thing, but you will never truly realize how the industry works its way up. Dwayne Johnson, who I got to work with in Moana, amazing guy.
You mean The Rock?
Yeah, The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He's fantastic, and he's a hard worker, and he works for everything that he's achieved, and he's achieved much in his career. And I believe it was him who told me that, when you help people and you help them succeed, when you're working your way up the chain in this industry, they will help you along. However, if you slip, and if you haven't really paid your dues, or you haven't been kind, if you haven't been considerate of those around you, they will let you fall, and you will fall hard. So I think it's very important that you just remind yourself that truly there was no person in this industry that got here alone. No one. And so to remind yourself of that every day as you're moving forward and be appreciative of what you have now while still looking ahead, I think that would be what I would recommend for people. If I can recommend anything, because I'm very new in this.
That's a really good point. I say that a lot. I say my teacher used to tell me, be good people. That's just kind of a given, you'd think. But I think do the work. Like if you're going from a singing career to an acting career, take the acting classes, take the musical theater acting classes, make sure you understand the technique of acting as well as, just like letting the emotion come or the action come, or, figuring out exactly what it means to tell the truth and not be afraid to, like, as I like to say, like, not afraid to be ugly in front of people, which is, essentially you open your chest and go, here's my heart, I hope you like it, and then put it back when you're done. It's one of those things where you have to really have to get rid of that fear, or at least persevere through it.
One more.
Hi. This is going to be an online question from Chuck S. Where do you see your characters in future episodes if the show gets renewed for a second season?
Well, Chuck, I don't know. I think Lillette. God, I'm not gonna give away any spoilers because we're only on the 4th episode. Lillette has big dreams for herself, for her mom as well, of getting out of this town. But we also see that she's getting to be a part of something bigger than herself, as well as in a relationship that is more than just her. It's now, really interesting, and her life is suddenly becoming fun and exciting, and it's a new journey for her. So, in the future, I think I would love to see Lillette take an active kind of approach in her future, because I think a lot of what she's thinking of is just day to day of, I have work tomorrow, I have rehearsal next week, and I want her to be able to think of, what does she want to do? Like, does that align with her mother's passions? Does that align with Robbie Thorne? Does that matter? Does she decide for herself that this is what she wants to do? Will she, drive forward with that passion that we know she has? I'd like to see if and when that happens.
I've actually been thinking about this a lot, and I think Robbie might fall. That's kind of where I think that's like the best way I can put it. I think he might fall with everything that's going on. I think he might break. I think that if and when, God willing, we get a season 2, that's really all I can really say.
That divulges a lot.
Yeah.
Actually.
Thank the Lord. I hope so.
You might have just spoiled some stuff by accident. Or is that just your guess that happened?
That's just my guess. Cause no. Trust me. No spoilers on this one. But I think that's kind of all I can really say without giving anything away.
Do you kind of want to play Robbie falling? Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort
Are you
of,
kidding me?
That's also where that's coming from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be like dropping to their knees and be like, "Ah," like, you know what I mean? Kind of operatic
not.
crying. Are you kidding me? That's amazing.
Operatic crying?
Oh yeah, just like
That's
that
another skill I have
emotional,
to
like
learn.
heartbreaking stuff. That's like that award-winning kind of stuff, though.
Guys, Rise is on Tuesday nights at 9,
8 Central.
8 Central. It's a beautiful show. Congratulations. Everybody give them a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and it's on NBC.